Have you seen Beastars?
Mm-mm.
I don't even know if that show is good, but it is wild. If you ever watch, if you ever watch, I've only seen the first season. I would love to hear what you think about it. Because in that universe, everything's sort of like animals. So like and carnivore there are carnivores and there are herbivores, and in that universe, only recently did the carnivores decide that they were going to coexist with the herbivores and no longer eat them.
Hmm.
But they have like all the urges that animals have still. So they're like humans, but they like still want to eat meat. But in this universe, meat are other humans essentially.
Hmm.
And so it like raises all these weird questions that like don't quite make sense. Like they feel like it feels like metaphors of of our reality, but also it can't possibly be because humans don't have those urges. Um, because the central story of the show is that the main character is a wolf and he like falls in love with a rabbit and he wants to be with her, but he also like wants to eat her.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally like eat her flesh. Um, and so there's like I don't know that's like a show that is sort of dealing in some ways with like something like transhumanism. Um, it also deals with a thing that that this game also doesn't talk about. But some things that our transhumanists do sort of talk about is like what treating your body as an aesthetic thing means.
Hmm.
Like the fact that your body. Oh, so more than once in this game, it mentioned someone's skin color, and anytime I remember seeing it, it said that their skin color was brown.
Hmm.
And that like means something in our world, and what it means in this world, I don't know. That like people are choosing to be brown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is interesting. Like it means something. Or like in Beastars, one of the characters, the rabbit character, is like so small that she looks like a child, and she's not a child, but that still means something that they portrayed her as like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's all very, very complicated now. Like you haven't seen it, but in Sundogs at least, I think there's like the game is all about like gesturing at things, maybe making you think about things, but never really telling you what the game's stance on them are. But that was like I'm like noticing all the like cultural and racialized things that the game actually doesn't get into at all. Like it chooses to write something in Chinese, or when it shows a person who's maybe not white. Um,
Mm-hmm.
maybe white people don't even exist in this universe,
Mm-hmm.
like as we understand white people, but we're not in that universe, and so it's hard to see references to like everyone on this planet chose brown sleeves, and not be like why like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
were they originally brown people before they chose sleeves? Are brown people an aesthetic now? Is brown like it feels like in this world your body is actually purely functional. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
collecting not aesthetic
Mm.
qualities but like functional qualities. So maybe brown means that you're like not going to sunburn. Like I don't know. I have no idea what this game is saying um
Yeah.
about skin color, if anything.
Yeah, that is interesting because transhumanism, yeah, is super ripe to make comments about skin color and race, especially with what we were talking about of it being like a social construction. So there's a lot of fruitfulness there.
Yeah, I don't think the game is super concerned with culture actually.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons we don't get too into it.
Mm.
uh we don't have any idea what makes Venus different than Mars culturally, really.
I do
um
wonder, like, back to the conversation of coziness and limitations, like, maybe having fewer cultures makes a game more cozy because there's less where there's different cultures, there's clashes, there's discomfort. And so it kind of eliminates the discomfort of cultural difference.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game without conflict,
Hmm.
which is like one of the like at least that kind of conflict. It feels like there was maybe conflict in the past, or there definitely
Hmm.
was, and we're like past it. The way that we're past it is really interesting because it doesn't feel. It feels like resolved in the sense that like no one cares anymore. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like if you visit Earth in the game, Earth is like
Hmm.
wreckage or whatever. But the game doesn't feel to me entirely apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic. It feels um like something like past that, like post-apocalyptic or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah, it feels settled in its post-apocalyptic stance. I think a lot of the genre of post-apocalyptic is like dealing with the aftermath, but it just kind of feels like it's been dealt with. Like people are like, "Yep, that's it. We're over it."
Yeah. I mean, there's like a way that this game feels like it's dealing with or making a commentary on boredom almost, or
Hmm.
listlessness. Uh, like there's not a reason to be doing what you're doing, and there's no limitations to doing what to like. It feels like we're post scarcity, we're post money, we're post energy dependence, and your care, and maybe even post like relationships. Like
Mm-hmm.
it does like this has to do maybe with like the fact that this game is not super concerned with culture, but you like, as far as I can tell, you don't like meet families or tribes. You meet like individuals who occasionally have like a profession. Um, and so you're just like going around to these different places, like a person would like travel in a museum, which is maybe
Mm-hmm.
what the whole game sort of feels like. Actually, it's like more anxiety inducing than a
Mm-hmm.
museum, but like you're just like going to places that already exist, making note of the things that are interesting to you, and then moving on by yourself to another location, and occasionally interacting with people, but only like incidentally, in the way that
Yeah.
like you might like sit next to someone at a museum cafe.
Yeah. One of the things I really felt when playing this game was that I wished I had a longer attention span. Because if I was here to just like vibe, like there's so much to sit with and think about. Um, be- I think the text is like written in a way that kind of, again, because it suggests a lot. There's a lot you can kind of sit with and think about, and just hop from place to place and hit explore and see what happens. Um, yeah, I totally agree with you that, like, because in a museum you get to see an artifact, you get to, I don't know, you're also walking around in physical space, so it's like there's things that are low level stimulation. I think for me, I can't really do that with this sort of game because if my computer's on, the entire internet is before me. I have games downloaded. There's so many things I could do, so it's hard for me to
Yeah.
feel like I can just sit with this. But I it would be awesome as a museum exhibit. It is museum like.
I think that one of the things that museums and theaters and things do is they like they prohibit, or they like set up an atmosphere in which certain things are easier to do or harder to do,
Mhm.
and that like greatly affects your experience of those things. So I agree that like this is a game that is like meditative and philosophical to a certain degree, and sort of slow, and that works better. Those kinds of experiences work better um, in situations in which it's harder to do things other than that. Like that's
Mhm.
why
Mhm.
like I can't watch slow movies by myself. I have to like be in a theater or watching them with people.
Mhm.
Um, and the same thing with like at a museum. Like I'm gonna spend way more time looking at a painting in a museum than I would look at it in a book.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like this game is like would be strengthened by playing it in a different atmosphere than on my laptop, which has all the like similar like what you're just describing, all the other things I could be doing and am doing while I'm on the laptop.
Mhm. Yeah, at the museum, you also have people around you, so you have to seem like you're really deep in thought. So they know you're a person of culture. Whereas my home, I'm just like, splayed on my chair.
Oh
But
my god. Yeah.
um yeah, it is interesting too, because like at a museum, you're kind of in parallel with a lot of people. There's not a lot of talking, there's not a lot of interaction. Um you're supposed to be kind of each lost in your own worlds or you're with whoever you came with. And that mood also feels like it suits this a little bit better. That same like meditativeness, but also the sort of isolation coming across people as individuals. Something else I was wondering is like, would this game have been more effective for me if it had been like an app? And like
Hmm.
every morning I woke up and it would tell me a different thing and I would experience it across like, I don't know, a month or something?
Yeah, have you played Bury Me My Love?
Oh, that sounds familiar. I haven't.
It's an app game or app narrative experience, interactive narrative experience, but it's bound by like real time. So
Oh,
when
this
you make
one.
decisions, you have to like wait,
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
and it slows the game down a whole lot in really really interesting ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that also reminds me of a thing that Sundogs has a Twitter feed
Oh yeah.
that is like I don't know what it is, and maybe stopped doing it last year. It says well, part of the description of the Twitter is also an ebooks feed of the game, and then like if you look at the tweets, they're like sentences that I think are from the game. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Flashes of blood. That's one whole post. The city behind you. That's another post. As you next to compensate. I don't even know what that means. You can feel a group of birds and finding nothing there. That's one. That's like all of the tweets are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Looking around you as you in the planet. Like I don't know if it's random, but they also sound like they're from the game. Some of them. So I don't. Yeah. Anyways, that like what were you just saying that reminded me of that? But oh, the app. Like there is some sort of like digital version of this that was taking multiple days to complete, but I can't tell what it is.
It's interesting.
Also, the game dev who worked on this, programmer or game designer half of the duo, they have a new game that also is a space exploration game,
Hmm.
but it feels way more traditional in a lot of ways. Like I think you like resource manage and stuff in it.
Hmm.
But this is apparently kind of their jam. Uh, Here's a description of it's called the Banished Vault, a strategy game of exploration, endurance, and space travel on an interstellar Gothic monastery. Like that feels so similar to this game in some weird like vibey way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even though this is not really a strategy game and it's not really about a monastery, it like kind of feels like it is. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the contemplativeness.
Yeah, it does have monastery vibes. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think something I would love to take away from this game into my own practice is like the again the like aesthetic based exploration. The I kind of like that the explore button is kind of unpredictable. I don't think I would do that exactly, but there's something about it serving up something different and like not really predictable each time. I think I'd love like slightly more control for the player, but yeah, I wonder like so the dating and AI idea I've had for a long time, my instinct was to go short story with it, but like one of my friends who started as a poet and is now doing prose said, when you're writing prose, things have to happen. And so I don't have anything to happen. So I wonder if like a sort of more interactive fiction-y experience might suit it better for the sort of like aesthetic, um, reflective, philosophical bent.
That's a funny. I feel like that's usually true, but like, what about like invisible cities? Sometimes stuff don't happen. I think
Hmm.
I don't know if you checked out modding this game,
I want
but
to look into it. Yeah.
it is very straightforward. Basically, if you go to the folder where the files are kept, there's a file in there. It's the only text file, and it tells you kind of what to do. But even if you
Hmm.
just open the text file or the game files themselves, it is an extremely readable. It's sort of like first line is the name of
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
entry, the second line is the description, and then there's like two lines after that that are clearly the choices that you can make or something. Um, I don't. The thing I don't know about this game is I feel like that's probably all you can do. You can only change items that exist in the game and entries that exist when you explore planets. But I don't know. I don't know that you can change the names of planets
Mm-hmm.
or remove planets or anything like that. I think it's like only text that you can change. But I'm like, at some point, I'm going to do something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but
Yeah.
I really want to try to. Because I actually think all the things that I'm saying about this game that I'm like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. I think they're almost all addressable through a different
Mm-hmm.
kind of writing. I actually think the writing's really well done, by the way. But
Mm-hmm.
I just think, like, like if there's an option not to kill people from exploring, and you just take that, that
Mm-hmm.
changes the whole way that the game feels, um, and can make it less anxiety inducing if that's what you want to do. So, part of me really wants to explore modding this game and seeing what kind of interesting stuff is possible with it.
Yeah, I think I'm on the exact same page as you. I feel like this game is on the precipice of doing something that I really want it to do. And like you said, there's just some content changes that I feel like would push it there. I don't know what they are. And so I'm not diving into it, but yeah, I feel like it's so close. I really do want to mod it someday.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent way more time with it than I ever have before, so maybe I'll just start doing that right now. Also, one of the interesting things about modding anything is you immediately become aware of like why the decisions were made, even the ones you disagree
Mm,
with, like why they were made. Where you're like,
mm-hmm.
oh, the reason that this keeps happening is that like when you try to do something other than that, it's like a very bad decision. Like they chose the best of like a bunch of other choices,
Right.
the best of like three difficult decisions or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like even if I don't ultimately make anything I like, um, that still might be worth doing just to like further explore this game. It's also a cool open license thing that they were like, as long as you don't make money, you can like release it on the internet. So
Hmm.
that's cool.
Yeah, that is interesting. I remember in one of Patrick's classes, it was like we talked about what is that game? It's that game where you like walk. It's like a tiny bar.
Oh, Passage.
Passage. Yeah, there you go. You knew it right away.
Yeah, Patrick loves that game.
Yeah, and we talked about like modding it as, I guess, like a form of dialogue about the game and the statements it's making. So I think that's very cool. Yeah, I think we can wrap this up here. It's been what, like 2.5 hours. Um, so yeah, it was lovely getting a chance to talk about this game. I think I totally agree with you. It is very interesting. Um, there's there's a lot of like fruitfulness here. It's very like conceptually fertile.
Yeah, I feel like one of my um one of the reasons I wanted you to play it was I wanted to hear your thoughts on it, and but also I really like art and games and anything that like
Hmm.
swings for something that is different.
Yes.
Like, and so even when it's like ultimately not doing everything, like I had lots of things about this that I was like, I wish it was doing this other thing, or like I don't understand this thing. I still actually like spend more time thinking about this game than many like triple A games that were technically very good.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like that I played through them or just didn't even play through them. It just was like, ah, yeah, this looks really good, or this is like pretty compelling or fun or whatever. And then I never thought about them again.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think about this game like fairly often for whatever reason. I mean, for all the reasons that we talked about. And so, um, I don't know. There's like a way in which I really like this game, even though I'm like never entirely sure what's going on. So, thank you for playing it and talking with me about it because it's given me more stuff to think about.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's most interesting when things are pushing the envelope. So you take creative risks. Sometimes they don't entirely pay off, but it's doing something different. And that's like stimulating to the map of games.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And yeah, I hope you have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Take care. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.